Let's look at the process API here. So that will allow us to get the process ID and other things and other features inside of our process API. So this is a big deal, and I will repeat again. If this is your first time looking at Java in general, this may not make a lot of sense, but if you've had some experience, you understand about process IDs and you understand a little bit more about Java, I think this will make a little bit more sense. If it doesn't, do not worry. I just want to highlight the things that have been the new features in Java 9, which are very important, especially when we talk about capabilities that developers now have, specifically in this process API change here. So now we have access to the process API, which means now we can go and fetch certain information about the processes that are happening as we run our Java applications. Okay, and that is very important because in prior Java versions, in order for us to actually get the operating system processes, it was cumbersome. So we had to do a little bit more work, little hacks for us to be able to get that information from the system. But with Java 9, all we have to do is call the process handle class, which then we can get information about the processes and other things. Well, it's always nice to put everything into an example. So I have inside of my main entry point here, a project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class called process handle. There it is. Say enter. And I'm going to call this current process. As such, I'm going to create process handle that current like this. Okay, so now this current process variable here is holding the process that we can access in our operating system, which means I can now go ahead and create another process handle .info. I can say process handle .info. This one here, it's an interface which will allow me to get our current process info such, and I'm going to also say use our current process that we created earlier at the top there, and I'm going to get the information. So I'm getting the information about the current process. Now to show you, I'm going to go ahead and say system.out. In fact, I can also use sout as such and hit enter, and then the IDE helps out and writes all of that for me. And inside here, inside of println, I'm going to go ahead and say PID as the process ID. I'm going to pass here the current process.PID. So this, if I run this, save, go ahead and click here run, or I can just say Control R. And you'll see now the current process is 5,899. If I keep running, you notice different processes are indeed being shown here. So if you keep running, you notice the PID changes depending on the time that we are running. But now we are able to get the process ID. Now we want more information about this process here. That's why we created this process handle.info class here, right, handle, which of course is getting the information of this current process. So that means we can do all sort of things. I can go ahead and say system.out, or again, I can say sout for short, enter. And then I'm going to say here info like that. I'm going to say current process. I'm going to space like that. Current process information. Let's see what we are going to be seeing. There we go. You notice now it tells us everything that we need to know about the process that is happening right now on my computer. Obviously, there's all different sort of processes, but this process here, you can see it has an array that contains all of this information. So there's the information. So it's got the user inside of this array. Have a user. Okay, it tells the name is Paulo Deschon. I'm the user of my computer right now, and it says here there is the command. So we're actually commanding or using the Java inside of our bin home here. And we have arguments that have been passed, right? So it's the application, all this information here that is pertaining to the process that is happening right now. Okay, it has class path. It even shows us exactly where the package, where the application or the program that is running, in this case is main. This is the package, and also has information of start time. Okay, and of course, total time that this process has been running for. This information may seem very trivial and perhaps something that doesn't make a lot of sense, but this is a huge advance because previously, in previous Java versions, this would not have happened. This would be really hard to get this information of the current Java running time inside of our current operating system. So this is huge because now you have access to the operating system, what it's doing, and you can do all sort of things. And you can see also on top of that, you can actually get more information. For instance, let's go back to our current process information. I can actually go and say current process, which is our process handle. It's a dot, so we can access all sort of things. We can access children, so stream of process that are happening. The info, that's what we're getting. We can check whether the process is alive. We can compare. We can get a stream of descendants of this main process and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Okay, now we have that power which has been given to us in Java 9. Okay, so as you can see, this is very powerful stuff, and no wonder that's why it's a big deal for us as developers as we grow, as we build bigger applications, and we have now access to things that we didn't quite have access before. We did have those access, but it was a little bit harder for us to access the process IDs and so forth in Java. But now it's all easy for us to do, and we can do all sort of things. Okay, I hope you are getting excited about Java 9 and seeing the new things that we are getting out of the box. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.